Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here. So yesterday we had update 4.1 release, and the main content that came with it were of course the 3 new Vault weapons. So naturally, the AEK being one of the best guns in both Battlefield 3 and 4 definitely had me excited. So I wasted no time in unlocking that one yesterday and then jumped into a few rounds to put it through its paces. But does it hold a candle to the AEK 971 of old, and probably more importantly, can it compete with the base weapons in Battlefield 2042? You know, is it even worth unlocking? Because as we know, so many of the other Vault weapons just aren't really that great. We're going to get into all of that in a minute, but first, if you guys do enjoy the content, I would appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos. Thank you guys so much for your support as always. So overall, I was really surprised actually by how well this gun performed, and you'll see some examples of that in the background. It really feels like most enemies, especially at those shorter engagement distances, really don't stand a chance of out-damaging me. Just like in previous games, it definitely does take a bit of getting used to. Not only do you have to put up with a 30-round magazine that obviously with a rate of fire of 900 you're going to fly through in a matter of seconds, but the recoil of this gun is significant. So if you're anything like me and you've been running, let's say, the RM68, which has very low recoil in comparison, you know, it does take a little bit of adjusting. Now, once I'd gotten a few rounds under my belt and thought, hey, you know what? Most Vault weapons suck, but this thing rips. I hopped into a private portal server to do some testing on the bullet to kill ranges. So strangely enough, it turns out that this gun has a 5 bullet kill all the way up to 50 meters. Now, if we compare this to the other higher rate of fire assault rifles in the game, so the AM40 and the M5A3, you'll notice that those guns, and indeed pretty much every automatic gun in the game, don't have a flat damage curve like this. Normally, they have a 4 or 5 bullet to kill up to 10 meters or 15 meters, and then it will jump up by one more bullet for like another 20 meters, and then it jumps up again. It's kind of like a step up in the graph all the time. But the AEK, it doesn't matter if you're at 1 meter away from the enemy or 50 meters, it's just always a 5 bullet kill. So to get to the 900 rate of fire that the AEK spits out, we have to equip the M5A3 with both the short barrel and the close combat rounds, which puts it at about 920, so a smidge faster than the AEK. But just look at the bullets to kill here. The M5A3 only has a 5 bullet kill up to 10 meters and only a 6 bullet kill up to 40 meters. So the AEK having a 5 bullet kill range all the way up to 50 meters is actually kinda insane. Now, I don't know if DICE just neglected to look into these numbers properly, or it's just a Vault weapon thing or what, but I think it's more likely that they allowed the recoil of the weapon to balance its range. So once you can kill somebody with 5 bullets at a distance of 1 meter or 50 meters, as that range increases, you are going to miss significantly more of your shots due to the recoil, and this is where the gun puts you in a bit of a vulnerable position. The side-to-side recoil of this gun in particular can be pretty punishing and quite random, so when trying to damage targets at range, going full auto with this gun is honestly not a good idea. In previous Battlefield games, of course, we had fewer players. Fewer players meant smaller maps, and smaller maps meant shorter engagement distances. Therefore, the weapons in other Battlefield games relied much more heavily on burst firing targets who were far away in order to keep spread in check and land your shots. And this is exactly how the AEK 971 works in Battlefield 2042. However, the problem is that the base weapons in the game, as we know, don't work like that. It seems that DICE decided to opt for minimal spread increase on the weapons in this game, which means you can burst enemies down with full auto at some pretty ridiculous ranges. Honestly, I think this overall decision by DICE to pretty much make burst firing totally unnecessary has taken the fundamental skill of burst firing a weapon and, you know, the experience that comes with knowing your ranges out of the game. Indeed, like so many other things that have been more casualized. But you know what, that's a subject for a whole other video. Now, something else that kind of plagues this gun, and this has been for other Vault weapons as well, is there's a strange pause on the reload. So if you watch closely on the footage in the background here, you'll notice that I reload the weapon and it almost looks like it's ready to go. The soldier animation lowers the gun as if it's in a ready to fire position, but there is actually about half a second of the reload animation left to play out, and this has caught me off guard several times where I think the gun is ready to fire and I click my mouse and nothing happens. It's also caused me to actually cancel my reload animation by switching to another weapon or a gadget when I think the reload animation is finished, and then I switch back to my primary and discover, oh boy, I only have 10 rounds and I expected to have 30. So hopefully that's something that DICE can look into. I think this was also a bit of an issue with the M16A3. I think they did fix that eventually. Now, since this is a vault weapon, you won't have many loadout options. DICE are looking into adding more attachments and skins to vault weapons in the future, but there's no knowing when they are going to turn up. But for now, I like to run the foregrip and the muzzle brake. You can take a laser here, but honestly the hipfire of this weapon is already very good, so you're probably better served by the foregrip, and a heavy barrel, in my eyes, is just a no. It increases the vertical recoil by a ton, it almost doubles it, and it's already very high to begin with. So overall, this gun is probably one of, I would say, the highest TTK guns in the game, at least at shorter ranges, perhaps up to 25 meter ranges. However, once you start to get beyond that, 40, 50 meters, you could find yourself getting outgunned by weapons like the RM68. You know, that thing is just so accurate, it has so little recoil, and it has crazy range even when fired full auto. Don't get me wrong, you can definitely do fine with this gun at range as well, but you are going to have to burst it a little more to get what you're used to. Now, if you missed yesterday's video about the mid-season event leak courtesy of Applebox, go and check that one out if that's your cup of tea. Thanks for spending a bit of your day with me, guys. Hit that like if you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Tango down! Tango down!